Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jess. This is my friend Meg.
Hey.
And today is our first garden tour in July, and it's gonna be a little bit different this time because I have a guest. You are the first guest for me to ever have.
Oh, yay! I feel special.
Yeah, I've had people like that popped in, you know, like when Daniel lived here, and of course Maya makes an appearance occasionally.
Yeah.
Bear, my dog. But you are the first guest to have on a full garden tour. Meg is here from North Carolina, and she is obviously, well, actually, you might not be able to see because you're not turned sideways. Having a baby here pretty soon, and they're going home to finish putting their garden in.
Yes.
They came to pick up pigs,
Yes.
and I thought, hey, I've got to shoot this video to put up this weekend. Why don't you come along with me? And we're gonna kind of hear her input.
Okay.
And we're just gonna talk about what's going on in the garden. For those of you who are new here, we do garden tours and post them every Saturday of our mostly organic gardening efforts here in Central Arkansas, Zone 7B. I love getting to share the garden with people. I think this is a wonderful way for you to get hands-on experience without having to put your hands on it. I'll put my hands on it and tell you about it. For those of you who are not new here, welcome back, and thank you for being with us as always. It's so weird because I'll feel like things are the same,
Yeah.
and then I'll look at videos and be like, not the same.
Not the same at all.
So this is interesting. My onions here are starting to flower. We do not want this, so we're gonna pull that bad boy off. When garlic does this and sends up a center stalk, it's called escape, and it's delicious.
Oh, they're so good.
Onions, not so much. I mean, you can actually use this like a green onion, but that means this onion's probably just about ready. I've just been pulling them as I need them. Here's something we can look at here. Like that garlic is getting really close.
Oh, cool.
Look how nice that looks.
That's a nice big one.
Some of them are, well, that's not super small. That's that, I can never.
Achilleum?
Yeah,
Or whatever.
that's it. Achilleum red. That's exactly what it is. And then I think I've got the music garlic in here.
Oh, cool.
But most of these are soft neck, so I'm not getting any scapes off of these. But they're getting close. You can tell with garlic that it's ready when it starts dying back, and this is starting to look that way.
And when did you plant yours?
Oh, really late.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I planted this, I think it was January.
Oh, wow, that is really late.
Like really late. I actually, and some of them are tiny.
Yeah.
Some of them look really good, especially the ones kind of on the outside. The ones on the inside are smaller. But I had all these garlic cloves, and I had not planted them.
Yeah.
Put it off, you know, kind of let it get away from me. And then it kind of came down to it, and it was like, well, I can plant these or eat them.
Yeah.
But I just didn't eat that much garlic. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and just throw them in the ground. I'm glad I did. We'll get more this way than we would have gotten had we not planted them.
Exactly.
You can see some of these are like right here. This is really small. That doesn't have a bulb yet. But and it's not dying back real bad, so it has some more time. We'll see how it does. I've got these onions down here. Check these bad boys out.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's massive.
So they're really big. This is a sweet onion. I got the starts from Stark Brothers, and I just put them in, and these I planted at the end of February, and they look like that. But a lot of rain and good compost will do that with onions, and they look really good. I put them in at the end of February, and we're harvesting them. Oh, the cottage garden is starting to fill out. Isn't it lovely?
It's the first time I've seen it. It's beautiful.
The Hobbit garden.
Yes.
That's what our viewers have dubbed it.
I love it.
The Hobbit garden. It is hobbity.
It is.
I think the star for me, well, my David Austin roses are starting up here. I'm gonna deadhead that little guy there. And these are just little ones because they're the first blooms, but it's still beautiful, even so small. And then these sweet potato vines, these variegated sweet potato vines.
Oh, no kidding.
Look at that, and
Wow.
beautiful.
So do they set potatoes?
Probably not much. Yeah, probably not much of a real potato is going to come out of this. I've got a couple of those, and then these dahlias are coming up here, and then the cosmos.
I love cosmos. Are my absolute favorite flower.
Really?
Yes, they are.
This is my first year to plant cosmos.
Is it
that
really?
crazy?
Oh, girl.
I've fallen in love with them though. Look at I love the foliage of them.
Yes. And their faces are so cute.
Yeah. These cosmos here have just, I
so
just love them. They're so cheerful and forgiving.
Yes, they are very forgiving. And they're so full.
Yeah, they fill out fast. I actually brought some seeds down here, day before yesterday and filled out a lot of these empty spaces with zinnias and cosmos and some sweet alyssum. The cottage garden has been a learning experience for me. I'm kind of the kind of person that, like, I actually was talking about this earlier. I like to do things and do them and have them done. Yeah. Meg was knitting this beautiful shawl, and I was like, that's so pretty, and wow, you have so much patience. Because I have a vision, I like to knock it out and get it done, and I was saying the garden has really taught me patience, because you can't do that. And the cottage garden has taught me a level of patience that even the vegetable garden just can't hold a candle to. Well, yeah, because the vegetable garden, most of what you do is like, it turns around quickly. True. And you go to harvest soon. But with the cottage garden, it's like, okay, you put this in, you'll see it in its fullness in a year or two. And then you gotta take your time and fill in the spaces. Yeah, it's a very thoughtful process. Yeah. Bees.
I know, they're all over.
Look at this. Okay, so it's a hot day. So this is not unusual by any means. But check out our beehives. This is called bearding, and this is like bee air conditioning. Can you even? That is nuts. That's crazy. It's such an uncomfortable thing to see, honestly, to see. It's like, oh gosh, I don't know if this looks bad. It's not bad though. So we were just looking at the strawberries here to see if there was anything, and there aren't any right now, which my kids have just been eating them, but you can see that they're starting to put out more blossoms, so we'll still continue to get strawberries. And Meg just asked if I was still liking the kiddie pool, which I've had these strawberries in this kiddie pool for 2 years. Obviously it's going very well. We've harvested probably, I would say probably a gallon of strawberries out of this little kiddie pool this year. Now, all of those have been eaten standing right here by everybody who comes and checks them regularly. But I think what I'm gonna do is kind of take some of these plants and move them down into this area, fill this up with some more soil, and let those strawberries just take over this whole side area, because they'll just keep spreading.
Yeah. That would be really nice. And you'll have more strawberries. Yeah.
More strawberries is always a good thing. And I think filling this area up with strawberries would just give us a better dedicated space. We were talking about putting some in the back, and we may still do that. But like here we've got our blueberries, our blackberries, and so having that little area with strawberries I think would be really good. Yeah. Another thing that I'm really digging this week are my green stalks.
Oh my goodness, are these the purple potted?
Yeah, these are a purple burgundy bush bean. Okay. So yeah, so they're kind of doing some runners, but they're still a bush, and they're setting in their beautiful purple flowers, and they're gonna have purple beans. But look how, I mean, I love how full they look. Over here, these are actually called Tanya's pink potted beans, and they are a pink bean. And you can see they're the same color as this flower right here. And got a little bit of crunchiness going on. This is just, it's been so wet. So that's what's going on with that. But they look pretty good. Yeah, they look pretty good. Yeah. What is your favorite bean variety? On the spot. I didn't even warn you that question was coming.
I like all beans, like green beans. I just love green beans. I don't know, I haven't tried too many yet. I have some Blue Lake in the ground already, and I have some purple potted, but none of them have set yet. Yeah. So I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah. I planted rattlesnake pole beans over here, as well as the purple potted pole, which is one of my favorites. And then the Triafonte Violetto, it means purple triumph. Also another one of my favorite pole beans. It's so good. It's not stringy, so I really like that. Do you see your bees?
Beard goals. That's thicker than my beard.
They look. So let's hop into the garden. Here I have, actually, we haven't walked through here yet. These are noodle beans. Red and green like noodle beans.
Long ones?
The long noodle beans. And now that these have started climbing up this trellis, forget about it. They're going to be covered in no time. The thing that I love the most about these is that they're so romantic. Yeah. And if you're going to do arch trellises, noodle beans are a little different. They're Asian beans, and so it's not that crisp green bean. They kind of got a squeakiness to them, I would say, you know, like
squeaky's good though.
Yeah, and they're long, they're really prolific, they're really good in stir fries. So they're not like a bean that you boil as much. They don't really hold up as well to that, but in stir fries they're great. They're great pickled
Oh.
Yeah, and they just are so pretty on a trellis. All right, we're jumping in the Toro because Sweet Maya sees something that he needs to address.
He just can't wait any longer.
Look at those things.
Look at it. This is exciting.
This is the best way to grow strawberries, hands down.
Well, yeah, since you've picked so many out of that pool with slugs in
I
them.
know, this is awesome.
Right after I said I'm about to like plant all of those in the ground, and Jeremiah's like, this is the way to go.
You know
Look
how I feel
at
about
them.
strawberries. Right now I'm like,
Now, I've been getting some questions about how we're going to overwinter these, and I don't know that that's really going to be an issue for us. Now, if you live in a more northern place, you might have to consider it, but here, I don't think it gets cold enough to matter. All right, you're going to taste test?
Jess, you want one?
Oh, it's really good.
I got one for backup just in case it's really good. Just in case.
It's good. It was really good.
Really good. These are the Ozark Beauties. Is that right? Do you remember? Ozark Beauties.
We got a 25 pack of bare root. I'm telling you, we dropped them in. They looked dead. Within 2 days, they were growing. Within a
That
month.
was 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks, we have strawberries,
Oh, wow.
and only 2
Yeah.
plants didn't come up.
Whoa.
2 out of the 25 we planted didn't come up. That's it. That's
These were bare roots 6 weeks ago from the Ozark Beauties.
Dang.
Yep. They did awesome. And there's still a lot of berries on them. I didn't
Get more.
expect to get that many this quick.
Yeah, that's amazing.
All right, here's something interesting y'all want a learning experience. Okay, so what is happening here on these noodle beans is that these ants are farming the aphids, which means they actually like keep them alive in order to milk them. So that's fantastic.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
It is really weird. So when you see aphids and ants together, they're actually helping each other out. Aphids are probably one of the #1 garden pests that people are dealing with right now. As of like the beginning of June, that's one of the things. And all the things that you deal with in your garden have seasons. They have life cycles. And so, for instance, hornworms on tomatoes, they're going to show up here in my garden in a few weeks, and you deal with them. And then it's like you're picking and you're picking and you're picking, and then all of a sudden you cannot find a hornworm to save your life. That's because they've all gone into their chrysalises and they're going to turn into moths. And that's just, they have life cycles. And so on the front end of the garden, aphids are really, really bad. And you can deal with those really just by spraying them off. You can put things like neem oil on them. My favorite way to deal with aphids is to get ladybugs and loose them in the garden. Last year they knocked out some major aphid infestations in my garden, and I actually have some ladybugs on the way. I will tell you that as of right now, I ordered mine a while ago. As of right now, I cannot find them in stock anywhere. So I don't know if that's gonna, you know, but if you're watching this later, maybe still an option. That's a pretty intense infestation right here. And essentially what will happen with aphids is they're like sapsuckers, and they just suck the life out of plants. Big healthy plants can handle a little bit of an aphid infestation, but you do want to get them off because they hit your plant's immune system and make them just weak to other things. So not good things to have in the garden. So these cabbages, I still have some cabbages to eat. Looking okay, but it's time to eat these or else we're gonna lose them. Look here, we got some little baby corn. And this is that sweet blue. This is like a 4-foot tall blue sweet corn.
Really?
Yeah, I got it from Hudson Valley.
Oh, that's cool.
And I didn't plant it that long ago. It was just a handful of days ago, and you can see it coming up. So it got really good germination here. Now I planted this kind of densely together in this bed. It goes from over here all the way down to like right there. Planting your corn in like kind of blocks instead of rows helps because it's wind pollinated. Excited to see it grow. It's gonna be really pretty tall in here.
I've never heard of 4-foot corn. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I can't believe that I still have really healthy edible kale in June, but I guess that's a benefit of having a cool spring.
Going crazy too.
Really?
Yeah, it's off the hook. I need to go harvest it once we get home.
Yeah.
But thank you, yours.
Yeah, go for it. Red Russian. It's probably not as sweet as it was.
It's still really good though.
Yeah.
We planted a bunch of red Russian. The kids just go out and eat it as a snack.
Red Russian, sometimes called Ragged Jack or Red Ursa, all very similar varieties. I love this kale. It tastes so good. And I would say it's probably the most hardy kale I've ever grown.
Oh yeah.
Those over there actually reseeded, but some of them are starting to go to seed again. So it's getting to the end of kale time. Usually by June they've started going to seed. So
Yeah.
Cool spring though. I saved these rutabagas and I'm gonna cook these for you guys tomorrow.
Oh, cool. I don't think I've ever actually eaten a rutabaga.
So good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm really curious.
Rutabagas, sometimes they're called Swedes, or cabbage turnips.
Okay.
They're so good, and I've fallen in love with them this year. Check this out.
Is that banana plant?
Mm-hmm. Yes, banana plants.
That's crazy.
This was 3 last year, and they've already put off this many babies. If you want a baby banana plant, you can take one with you.
Ben might actually take you up on that.
Yeah.
Is it fruiting?
It doesn't here.
Okay.
Because it would if it was given time, but
Yeah.
our winter kills it. But I do use the leaves to grill in and stuff.
yes.
So like they're worth growing
Yeah.
for that. Like I love basil too. Basil tastes like summer.
Oh yes.
Here I have these. These are Dahlias de la table melon, which I think probably means something like delicious. You know, delicious melon, something like that. But they're doing okay on this side. Chicken's got them over here.
Oh no.
So I just replanted those. I've planted all my trellises now. Some things just haven't come up yet. Also got some blank space here I got to fill, but I started putting some pepper plants in and they are popping back, looking good. Oh goodness gracious, this little guy needs some redirecting. This is an Armenian white, cucumber, long cucumber. Technically, actually, it's a bitter melon, but you use it like a cucumber, so that's what it gets
So pickling.
lumped in. Yeah,
Not necessarily a table.
yeah.
cucumber.
It's. Have you ever grown this?
Not this variety, no.
Oh, I love the Armenian white long. It gets so big and stays so good, even though it gets
does
big.
it?
Oh yeah, and its skin is so thin. It's never bitter. I really like this. I'm really excited for this to start producing. Hey, I have my first Kajari melon bloom. Yay! On my only surviving plants. I've got some more sprouts coming up. My chickens got in my garden and like did a lot of damage actually. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's a pretty little nasturtium. I don't know that I planted that.
That was planted for you.
So I've still got these beets. A lot of these are massive actually, and I have a plan for them.
wow,
Yeah, these are really, really big. So these are probably too big to just eat like roasted like I would normally do. Yeah. My friend Jill was over here the other day, and she was telling me that she buys like a dehydrated beet powder
Oh.
from the like the health food store, and she said it's really expensive at the health food store. It's like several dollars an ounce or something like that. And so she was growing beets specifically for the purpose of dehydrating to make a powder to put in smoothies. And I was like, that's what I need to do with these beets.
Yeah.
Nobody in my family is a huge fan.
Okay.
I like beets pretty well.
Yeah.
But you know, I had a lot of them in the garden and I just haven't eaten these. So I think that I'm gonna try putting them through the dehydrator and
that's an
grinding
idea.
them down to be able to use them. And then they're also saved with no canning and
Right.
no freezer space. So that's awesome. I think you could probably
Try it. Get back to me.
I'll be the beet guinea pig. Some of them are monsters though, like over here.
Is the one inside on the counter? From
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
That's a pretty big trick.
Yeah, I think dehydrating them at this point will be our best bet. Bear, are you hot, bro? You need a drink of water? Catnip.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Catnip, Lemon Balm's cousin. Both greedy bullies that will take over your entire garden. We've cut this back significantly, but Catnip is really good stuff.
So what do you do with it?
Typically dry it for, like, you can do like a tea with it and stuff like that. You can make tinctures and all of that. And at this point, the thing is with growing anything like this is
Well,
that
that's strong.
yeah, you're gonna dehydrate it. You know, you're gonna get like a big jar of it, and then you kind of get to a point that you're like, okay, I have all that I need.
Right.
But you know, you can share it with people.
Yeah.
Like these, you can take cuttings of and root them. So
Yeah.
it's also just a really pretty plant. And when these flowers open up, the pollinators
Love
will
'em.
really love it. Yeah. You can kind of see those starting to open up right there. So pretty. Oh, this makes me so excited. These are dahlias and they're so pretty.
Oh, they're coming.
Yeah, they're about to open. And they're like dark purple on top and like light purple underneath. Or maybe it's the other way. Dark purple underneath and light purple on top. I can't remember. but I didn't realize they were going to come back. And I planted them a couple years ago, and they've come back every year.
Oh, no
and they're so
kidding.
pretty. Oh, yay, look here. These are a F1 hybrid squash called Eclipse, I think. And I decided to put them here in the front garden. I wasn't going to put any squash in the front garden, and then squash bugs showed up in the back garden. So I was like, what the heck? Let's just go ahead and plant another wave in case I lose those plants. And so I'm doing these, and I'm going to give these hybrids a shot and see if they're any more hardy towards the squash bugs. And they'll be really pretty right there too, nice and full. That is a coleus. It's called Inferno or something like that.
That's beautiful.
It's really, really pretty. When it's in the sunlight, it's like silly pretty.
Oh, I bet.
It's like you look at it and you can't quite tell what color it is.
It glows.
It really does.
Gorgeous.
So I thought I'd killed it because I got it. I got it from a nursery, and then it got really cold.
Yeah.
And it got some frost damage, but it's bounced back. You can kind of see that's like the leftover from the frost damage that it had.
Yeah.
But it's bounced back. It's so pretty. Doesn't look real actually.
It looks fake.
I've got this, and I've got a fig over on the other side, and it actually came back from last year. I need to get it planted in the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, man, a lot of the stuff I sowed the other day is up. These are black-eyed peas.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's cool. Did a whole little patch of black-eyed peas right here. And I've got cucumbers, my pickle cucumbers. There's a few that need to be picked. I need to tell Ben those are his cucumbers, so he keeps up with them. And then these cuckoozy squashes, or gourds. You use them like a squash. Technically, they're gourd. Look at that little overachiever.
Oh, wow.
Golly. That just took off. That literally has grown probably 18 inches in 2 days. That's what, yeah, the heat and the rain. We've had a lot of rain. Yeah, it's crazy that when the heat starts sending something through the roof, other things start suffering. So like the nasturtiums when it starts getting very hot for a lot of days, the nasturtiums start to look a little sad. Wow, so here's some cucumbers. I'll leave those for Ben. Look at that.
Oh, tiny babies.
I know. They're coming along.
What variety is this?
These are Sweet 100s.
Okay.
And then I've got a few spots down here because I rooted some suckers, and I'm going to plant those down here. But this whole row, these are all cherries. Me too. And we plant them right here next to the pavilion so we can snack on them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and because my kids will pick cherry tomatoes if I'm out here with them. So I can be sitting in the pavilion.
Right.
And they will pick all the cherry tomatoes.
Perfect.
Like, my kids are like that. They'll do whatever as long as I'm hanging out with them. And I'm like, all right, cool, I can handle that. So I got lots of little green ones though. Some of my markers got buried when Benjamin was helping me. I'm pretty sure these right here are Brad's
Okay.
Wild Boar Farms blue gold berries. Look at this hot mess over here.
Goodness.
So these are cucamelons
Oh my.
that are
Going elsewhere.
This is holy basil. Have you ever smelled holy basil?
No, I haven't.
Oh, get your hand
I've
hand up in that.
Oh my word. It smells like pineapple.
It's amazing, isn't
That
it?
smells so, like I've had Tulsi tea, but I've never actually smelled it.
It's Tulsi. That's what you use for tea.
That smells so good.
And if, like, seriously, I've got these popping up everywhere. We can dig one of those up for you if you
Oh, that'd
want.
be
Like, those
great.
are right there in the way of my cucumbers. I just didn't have the heart to rip them out. I've got all of these. These all reseeded from last year.
wow.
But yeah, it goes to seed. The pollinators love it. I love holy basil. It's one of my will always have in my garden no matter what things.
Yeah.
Zinnias open up. And this parsley, this is doing really well. This curly leaf parsley.
Really good.
It tastes so good.
Do you ever make tabbouleh?
No, I've never made tabbouleh.
It's really good. And you need a lot of parsley.
I like chimichurri. This was broken.
Oh yeah.
I actually probably want to go ahead and start drying some of this. I was wanting to do chimichurri, which uses a lot fresh, but while I've got so much before it has any bug issues or anything like that, I should probably dry some. Parsley's so fresh. This is a ground cherry that volunteered.
Oh cool.
It volunteered to come give us some yummy food. And then an okra that volunteered. And I've got some roselle here, which I'm growing for tea. This is the weediest bed I have. This bed, I can weed this completely. And then, I mean, it just looks like this a few days later. So it just has some really persistent root systems in it, which happens. This Kale finally went to seed, and it went fast. Okay, so I put this in here the other day, and I didn't tell anybody because I wasn't sure it was going to work. But it's coming up. This is ginger.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that cool? I see
I've always wanted to grow ginger.
Here's that. I don't think I see any more coming up yet, but
That's awesome.
yeah. This year I got some ginger from Fruition Seeds. And Fruition Seeds is specifically for northern growers. I love Petra. She's amazing. She's so inspiring and she's just so full of joy. I love watching her. And she gave this incredible talk about how to start ginger inside. And I watched it, I prepared for it, and then I never started it. I just got so caught up outside and the ginger just sat there. And then I found it and I was like, oh crud, I think it's too late to start it inside, but it was already past our frost. And I was like, well, you know, Fruition Seeds, they're in the north. I bet I could just put this in the ground and it'll grow. So hopefully it grows and actually grows some roots. So I broke it up into the different pieces and did essentially what you would do inside, but I just did it outside. And it's coming up. So, I mean, I have hope that it's gonna work. Hopefully this bed will be filled with ginger. And we'll have plenty of ginger for ginger things. Oh, look. Oh my gosh, this is my happiest thing.
What on earth? What kind of variety is that?
This is called Homs 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they look like they're just really fluted. This is my first time growing it.
That's really cool.
I know. I love when the baby tomatoes come. Look at all of them. I've got aphids really bad on my tomatoes too. I keep spraying them off, but like some of them, like these, look at that.
Oh yeah.
That's really bad. So I obsessively like take photos of my tomatoes while they develop, because I think it's so fascinating how they have such distinct shapes from the very beginning. Like as soon as the fruit sets, they're all so different. Here's a cool cluster right here. These are Costaludo Genovese. This is also a really fluted tomato. Not quite as fluted as that other one, but I just think it's neat how they'll be so distinct in shape from when they're first set. You can really tell what shape they're going to be. I think that's awesome. That's a lot of fruit clustered right there on that plant. It's kind of shameful, but like this time of year, from now for the next like 3 months, I have to be really intentional. I'll feel like a really bad mom because I will have more pictures of tomatoes
Than your kids?
than my kids. I'm dead serious, because I'll come out here every day and I'll be like, oh look, and I'll take a picture of all the different baby tomatoes and I'll track their growth with that. And then I'll go to scroll, like I'll see somebody and they'll be like, oh, your kids, and I'll go to scroll through my phone to find a picture of my kids and I'm like,
these are tomato kids.
I'm like, oh Lord, please don't let this be a representation of where my heart actually is. Here's another look at how quick the growth is happening here. These are just really taking off. Starting again, we're starting to see some fruit. I'm very happy with what I'm seeing. I'm so excited.
That's a lot of fruit.
It is. They're doing good. Like these I put in here not that long ago and they were really small. So they're like taking off. So they're looking good. So we're growing in this grower solution, high sidewall, high tunnel. I'm going to repeat all this information just because different people watch different videos. It's 24 by 60 feet. We grow in this because it helps us control the conditions in the summer with this shade cloth here, which I believe is 40% shade cloth, and the high side walls. It's actually cooler in there than it is outside, so it's not hotter in the summer, but then we will be able to grow through the winter as well. All right, quick look here. Oh, I just love walking in here.
It is cooler in here, even now.
I know, isn't it? It stays cooler in here. It just smells like life and cedar trees. Everything looks so good in here. Just the peppers. Like, I mean, you guys remember just a couple weeks ago how pale these were when I first put them in, and look how deeply green they are. I did lose some of the ones in the back, which it was due to overwatering. That week we got 11 inches of rain. It was just pouring in here, and it killed some of these peppers. But some of the ones that I thought were like goners have actually started to spring out some leaves, and so they may, like this one was just a stem and it's already grown back all of those branches. Some of these I left them because I thought they might. Look at this little guy. bless him. Let's just say no, sir, you don't need to put your little heart into that. Y'all need to recover. Definitely need to recover. This guy's like barely hanging on and he's trying to produce little peppers. But I don't know, a lot of these died down here, but some of them might come back. The rest of them, I feel pretty good about the way the rest of the peppers look though.
Those ones down there look great.
Look at this eggplant right here.
Oh, that's what that is.
You go eggplant.
Yes.
I love eggplant.
I do too. Nobody else in my family seems to like it.
I like eggplant parmesan, but I have this one recipe. I'll see if I can find it, or if I can't, I'll make a video of it once I have eggplant to cook. But it's from Nigel Slater. Have you read his cookbooks? Oh, I love Nigel Slater. And he has this eggplant recipe, and it's with cream and parmesan, which you don't think to necessarily marry eggplant to dairy. It is so good. It's so good.
It would be good.
I love it. So I literally planted these eggplants thinking about that recipe.
Oh, yes.
Quick look over here. More peppers looking really good. Still have a little space down there with stuff that's barely coming up, and the tomatoes, which I got my first fruit set in here just a couple days ago. I noticed that some of these were first starting to get their fruit, which that one's not quite there yet, but we'll start seeing those baby tomatoes like in the front in about another week. What are you farm boys doing?
Just run around.
Yeah. Look at this. We came down here last night and harvested squash right before dinner, and there's already quite a few.
I see another zucchini here.
Yeah.
Before it turns into a bat.
Yeah. I pick them young before they get baby size. They're much better when they're young. Oh yeah, that's just right. There's actually one right here too.
I didn't see that one. That's what happens. You don't see it.
I know. No, I broke the end off that one. I have to eat it.
Oh well.
They're doing good. I had the powdery mildew down here, which I'm trying to stay on top of with the milk spray, and that's helping. But they look really good. Overall, I think the squash is doing well. The okra is getting big. Noticed my first okra here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right there is my first okra. And I'm going to give it one more day. You want it just a little bit bigger than that. Yep, but that means we'll be covered up in okra before too long. Meg just said she loves eating okra straight off the plant. And I actually love that as well. Definitely an acquired taste. If you've not experienced okra a lot, it does have that mucilage in it. So it's slimy. So for okra haters, many of the times that's why people hate okra.
Yeah.
But it's very, very good for your digestive tract. If you can learn to like okra, it is very good for you. I have a video all about okra. I'll link it down below. You guys can check it out. Kind of showing some different ways to cook it and telling you all about it. So these spaghetti squash are completely covered. All over here are multiple. I mean, there are tons of them.
You're going to be drowning in spaghetti squash.
Yeah, there's so many. As long as my plants pull through this powdery mildew garbage.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get these things to maturity. And then down here I have some honey nut squash, which is like a really small butternut. It's so good. This is my first year to grow it. That's what that really healthy plant is right there. So I'm pumped about that. The sweet potatoes are spreading. I'm running out of light. And then back here, okay, Meg, this is what Arkansas can do in 38 days.
What?
Yep. I planted this garden. No, it may be 40 days now. 40 days.
That's still pretty
40 days when we're getting, I think we've probably got something like 20 inches of rain since then.
Well, yeah.
And it's been then, like 90 degrees during the day.
Oh my goodness.
But is this nuts?
That looks great.
Yep. Look at these guys. They're just taking out. We got baby squash on here. These are sweet meats. And New England pie pumpkins is what's going on back here. Looky there. There's a little baby.
Aww.
So yeah, those are rambling. And look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Me too. I'm going to let that little guy open up a little bit more. Look at the squash climbing up the sunflowers. I'm just going to let it go. We'll just see how that works out for it.
I'm sure it'll be okay.
These are actually pro-cut cutting sunflowers,
oh, nice.
So they're pollenless. I wanted to be able to bring them in the house, and I decided to grow some pollenless ones because Jackson's asthma. So, here, can you hold these?
Yes.
Pass those off so I can focus here. Well, I think that's about it. cameras are deceiving. Like, it doesn't look as dark on here as it is out here. It's very
Yes.
dark. However, look at the sky. Check that out. Isn't that beautiful? It's a cotton candy sky. That's what I always tell my kids. Definitely cool to get to share the garden tour with you guys and my friend Meg.
Beautiful.
Y'all go check them out and watch them plant their garden this year. I told her, I was like, you know, definitely it's awesome to grow a garden, but also when you're growing a baby, that can be your main,
It's kind of a big thing
the big
right now.
thing you're growing right now. But a garden is also a wonderful thing to have. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We will be back with a full, nice in-depth garden tour next Saturday. I bless you guys. Until next time.